Everyone, welcome to Author Chat, or welcome back if you've been here before. I am so excited today to have with me contemporary romance novelist Bella D'Amore. Hi, Bella.
Hey Terry, how are you?
Good. Thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
And you have out, well, no, you don't have out, you're relaunching your series of the Freedom series with three novels: Free to Play, Free to Live, and Free to Risk. And those are going to be relaunching mid-May. And currently you have out two novelettes, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. You want to tell us a little bit about your series?
Sure. The Freedom series actually came about because actually back in 2017, one night I started to write a story that came into my head. I will admit, inspired by watching a lot of NFL. So the story came to me and I wrote it in about 7 weeks. It was a mess, complete and utter mess. So I spent the next 2 years, almost 2 years, working with an editor to help me clean it up. Because this was my first time I've ever finished anything.
Okay.
And uh, and then after that, the other characters kind of found their way into my head and say, I want a story too. So I wrote two more, and there are at least three more planned, with the possibility of another two or three because it's a family, the Hutchinson family. So the first one is with Brent Hutchinson. He is an NFL tight end. Um, and Joey, she's half American, half Indian. Um, and she has issues. She has body image issues. She has abandonment issues. So they help each other out. They help find each other, find love, with each other, and help out with their issues.
And each of the three, they follow a different couple?
Yes.
Yes.
So the second book is then Samantha, who is Brent's sister, and Brent's teammate, Luke, who is the quarterback. And then the third one is Brent's other sister, Stevie, and then another. The hero is somebody that they grew up with. And the fourth book will be the twin brother from the third book. um, yeah, so it's actually no, I'm sorry. There's another one in between.
Oh.
There that See, this fourth one is giving me such a hard time that it's my head's like, no, don't even think about that. It's taken me where the first one took me 7 weeks, and this one has taken me 2 years to write it. I don't know why it is, but they're giving me these characters are giving me such a hard time.
And as we mentioned, it's a relaunch. You've written them and have the first three, but you're going to do a relaunch. So, what
Right.
uh, inspired you to relaunch the series, and what do you hope to do differently the second time around?
Yeah, I suffer from perfectionism, anxiety about that. If there's a typo, I beat myself up over it. Uh, and as I've written more books, I've learned more. I've hopefully become a better writer.
Hmm.
So I'd like to go back and sort of fix those. Even though my editor helped me fix a lot of the plot and structure and all of that, I think my writing could still use a little bit of polishing up. So I'm going back and fixing, a little. I think I've the first book. I think I've re-edited at least, I don't know, 5 or 6 times, and I keep finding things which drives me crazy. Um, but I'm getting new covers, and yeah, just polishing them up a little bit. And then as I relaunch them, have a better marketing campaign, because the first time I did not have marketing in my head at all. I just wanted to put it out into the world and was very disappointed when nobody saw it. So this time I hope to do a better job of marketing, because it really is all about, nobody's going to know your book is there unless you tell them about it.
Right.
So I hope to do that a little bit better this time, and do a quick release, so by the time I start releasing them again, I want to do them as quick releases, maybe every 3 or 4 weeks, so that I can have the first, I can have 5 of the books out, hopefully, by the end of the summer, if all goes well, if my characters stop giving me a hard time.
So, have you always been a writer, or is it a recent development?
No, I've always written. Even as a child, I would make up stories, um, but I've never finished anything, unless it was a short story or a poem or something like that. I've never finished anything.
Okay.
First book, despite all its problems, it, writing, whatever, I'm still so proud of it. It's like, it's your baby.
Yeah.
It's your first. So I'm incredibly proud of it, and I hope people like it. I have, when I did release it the first time, I asked some reviewers, if they wouldn't mind reviewing, and they loved it, which is great. That's all, they love the characters, and that's all an author could ask, for people to fall in love with the characters as you did.
And what is the heat level readers can expect from your series?
So yeah, I forgot to mention that. So the other thing that I'm doing is I'm kind of bringing the heat level down just a little bit, because I had gone through this phase where I was reading all this new adult stuff, and there's, the heat level's pretty up there for a lot of those. Um, Not quite 50 Shades, you know, uh, and also the terminology. I grew up reading romance novels of, Nora Roberts and Karen Robards and
Mhm.
uh, Julie. I'm sorry, Julie Garwood,
Okay.
um, and it was all euphemisms.
Yeah.
So it was really awkward for me to write, using the terminology that's used in a lot of books today.
Yeah.
It always made me, and that's, I mean, Bella is my pen name, and that's one of the reasons I felt like if I put that out there, people are going to be judging me,
Yeah.
you know, moms in the neighborhood or, in the schools and stuff. And I didn't want to have, I didn't want to cause any issues with that. Uh, but that's the other part of marketing. How do you market yourself and your books if you don't tell people that you've written books? So I'm bringing the heat level down just a little bit. I think they're still pretty sexy, but I use the old-fashioned terminology, and so that's the other part that why I took them off the shelves for the moment, and we'll be relaunching them.
Okay. Yeah, because it's definitely a different style of writing the love scene these days than maybe what we grew up with on.
Right. And I see
Oh,
nothing wrong with it. I love reading these books. I love reading the sexiness and the romance and all of that.
right.
Uh, it's just a comfort level. It's a personal comfort level.
Right. And that's what you have to, I mean, yeah, that's your story. That's what you have to
Right.
be comfortable with that as well. And, we're going to find readers who like all sorts of levels. So,
Right.
stick with what you want to do there.
Right.
Um, and so, how has your writing process changed since you wrote that first book?
So I know I need to have some sort of outline because that was a total, seat of my pants writing. I would, and I'm also a night owl. So after everybody went to bed, I would sit down and I'd get on my laptop and I would just start writing. And I wouldn't move, literally not move from my corner of the sofa. So bad for my posture, um, for 7 hours. And I would just write all night. It was the best. So, those nights when I have those kinds of nights, they're just the best feeling in the world because everybody else is waking up and you're like, oh my gosh, I just wrote 3,000 words, 5,000 words, haven't had that in a while. So I'm looking forward to getting back to that kind of productivity. So with this latest one, I did have a little bit more of an idea of where I wanted to go with the story, but not until after I'd already written the backstory. And then the back once I came into the present time, it's two parts. This fourth book that I'm writing. The second part is present day, and it was just giving me a hard time, so I had to go back and um, do my little index cards and say, okay, here's what I want to happen, and then I had to rearrange them, and then from there I started doing an outline, and I did that with the next book that I'm also starting. Uh, you know,
Okay.
with the index cards because I find that to be easier to reorganize and kind of it's in my head, but it's not really, I can't really figure it out until I put it down on paper.
Okay. And so, do you plot out everything on it, or do you just give yourself like certain beats that you want to hit and then
Yeah.
Discovery writes some of it?
Right. Just the beats because I really don't know what my characters are going to say or do until I start writing. They they kind of run the show. you know, um, I sometimes I have to go back and say, no, I don't think so. But as I'm writing, they're doing all the talking and, and action. So I write down, this is where it's going to start. These are some of the, beats, like I said, are going to be, and this is how it's going to end. And then let's see where it goes from there. And
Okay.
they'll probably change it on me.
So what comes to your head first, a character or the plot?
Oh, that's a good question. So with the first one, it was definitely the character. Like I said, I was watching a lot of football. It was NFL playoff time, and Patriots are my favorite team. So I'm watching Rob Gronkowski. He's a tight end. um, and it just kind of a story just kind of formed from there. Now my final character is nothing like Rob Gronkowski, um, except that he's an NFL tight end. In the end, the characters are so different. Brent is his father was a firefighter, and he had an older brother, and they both died in a fire. As they were fighting a fire, and then he has four younger sisters. So he's feels all this responsibility and towards them. So that's how the first book came around, and then I guess it's the characters. It's the characters. Then his sister ended up getting pregnant in the first book. So we had to I had to write a story about her.
Do you read and write the same romantic tropes, or do you read different romance tropes from what you write?
I read everything. Um, it has to have a happy ending. That's my requirement. Happy ending. But otherwise, I'll read everything. Maya Banks writes all sorts of books, and I love all of them. Um, so I do read all kinds. But for me, it's mostly contemporary romance.
Do you have a favorite trope that you like?
I always seem to end up with a child in the mix intentionally. Like I said, my characters just do these things, and um, whether it's a false pregnancy, pregnancy scare, or a secret baby, or somehow there's always a child in the mix, and I don't intend for that to happen, but somehow it does.
Do you have a least favorite trope?
I don't think I do. As long as there's a happy ending, I'm good.
Okay. All right. They're all good.
Yeah.
What is your advice for a new writer sitting down to write their first book?
Just write. Just get it done all on paper. Don't think about what you're doing wrong. Don't think about how it's not good enough. Um, just get it all down, and then get whether it's an editor or a friend, somebody to help you along with that after you've written it. But just get it down first. Finish, because I have lots of not even half, unfinished stories wait in a folder somewhere. And in my head, I've got a lot of stories in my head too, still waiting to come out.
Do you use any beta readers or critique partners in your process?
I do. I don't have a critique partner. I'm still searching. Everybody's so busy. But I do have some very loyal beta readers, and they've been great. They've been fantastic in helping me find things that I didn't see, or see things in a different way. Um, and that's been really nice, as well as reviewers. I love my ARC readers, so much. They keep me going. They keep me wanting to keep writing.
That is true. That is true. So what is up next? What is next for you after I guess you're releasing your first three. Actually, you've got up to like five now
I'm
that you're planning
hoping,
on.
I'm hoping I've got to get my 3,000 to 5,000 word nights going again. Uh, but my fourth book is in the process of a rewrite.
Okay.
So hopefully, once that's rewritten, I will start releasing the first 3 books, and so that by the time the fourth book is released, the fifth book will hopefully be also ready to be released at the same time.
Okay.
Right after that. Yeah.
So are you writing like full time right now, or are you juggling another job while doing this?
I don't have another job, but I do have another passion. Um, so which is it's creative. It's filmmaking. So I'm
Okay.
also doing some short films and local, working with other local filmmakers to do filmmaking. So, and that's because of COVID, everything's been put on hold. So that's starting to gear up as well. So it's going to be a few busy weeks, months here. Now that we're gearing up again, everybody's getting out into the world again slowly.
Slowly. Yep, that's great. All right. So where can readers find out more about you and your books?
So I have a website, belladiamore.com. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram, Twitter. I set them all up. I just need to, people just need to find me. It's a slow process. So that's the other thing for new writers. Just get out there, and readers will find you soon.
And as usual, I will have all of Bella's links down in the description box below. So be sure to check that out and follow her to find out when her books are dropping and grab you some copies of those. Give us a like down there too, and follow me for more author interviews. Thank you so much for joining me today, Bella.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next week. Bye.